There's not even a stove. Bob and Betty literally just microwave all of their meals. Has anybody ever noticed the correlation between emo culture and The Sims? Hello, Grimsimmer here, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Please don't forget to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so that way you can be notified every single time I upload new Sims content. If you want to see the Newbie family house go from this, to this, then to this, then keep on watching. If you are new here, I recreate and renovate old lots from The Sims 1, 2, and 3 into The Sims 4. For the recreation portion, I try to recreate the lot almost exactly how it looks in The Sims 1, 2, or 3. That might not always translate well into The Sims 4, so just keep that in mind as you watch the recreation. However, I do renovate the build towards the end of the video, so if you want to go ahead and jump right to that part, I'll put the timestamp up here. My second quick disclaimer before I start talking about the actual build is that I play The Sims 4 on a Mac, which yes, it's embarrassing, but that's what I have to work with. So if the graphics are a little bit bad or if anything's a little bit laggy, that's why. I also record these voiceovers on my voice memo app on my iPhone, so please bear with me. I'm working on it. I want to get a mic eventually and a new PC, but just keep that in mind. So thank you so much for all of your support. Maybe one day we'll get there. I used to play The Sims 1 literally all of the time. Every time I would go to my mom's office, I would bring the laptop that had the game on it with me, and I would play either The Sims 1 or Zoo Tycoon, which also is a very underrated game. It was so fun. Anyways though, I would sit there and play The Sims 1 all day, kind of like how I do now, except this time I'm just 22 years old. I played with the Newbie family a lot, so this house definitely holds a lot of nostalgia for me personally, and I'm sure it does for a lot of you out there too. Now, all that being said, there are a lot of things structurally wrong and frustrating about this build. First of all, there's no living room. They have that TV to the right as you walk in, not to mention the trash can, but there's no couch, there's nowhere to sit and watch TV other than that horrible big square table in the original build. How does that make sense? And honestly, who okayed that? But look, I get it. It's the first Sims game, we're excited to launch, it's the early 2000s, technology is a big deal, video games are on the rise, so let's just slap in a bunch of random furniture, ugly flooring, and walls that don't match. Make it make sense. There's not even a stove. They're just, Bob and Betty literally just microwave all of their meals. Like, how does that make sense? Bold of me to even point this out because I was like 8 years old playing this game, so I can't even imagine that my builds were that much better. So kudos to EA, they made a successful game. What have I done? Nothing. I've gone to college and now I have student loans. But now I have a 4-year marketing degree, so you win some, you lose some. Another thing about the original house that really doesn't make sense is the fencing for the landscaping. You'll notice in a few spots that I don't actually connect the fencing with the wall or connect it all the way or something like that, but that's actually how it is in the original build. I don't know why. I don't think that makes sense. Maybe it's so you could access the plants in The Sims 1, because I remember you can do gardening and you had to pick weeds and all of that. Actually, that makes sense. That is probably why. But it looks weird. I don't know. In real life, it wouldn't be like that. Now that I've spent the last 2 minutes complaining about this build, my favorite thing about it is actually the fountain in the backyard with the pink flamingos. I think that's so fun and so creative and adds a lot of personality to not only the Newbie family, but also the build as a whole. That's something that we used to see a lot in The Sims 1, 2, and 3, and I wish we saw that more in The Sims 4 from the EA builds. I think that it could help them deepen the lore and make us more invested as players as opposed to how it's currently set up. I find it really cute to imagine Bob and Betty setting up that fountain in the pink flamingos. I mean, imagine how proud they must be. How cute. I'm dying to know what they think about when they go out to their patio and look at it. Like, it has to have some sort of meaning, and I guess we'll never know. Let's jump on into the renovation of the Newbie house from The Sims 1 in The Sims 4. First, I'd like to mention that there are a couple cuts in here. It did take me a couple tries to film this. I had other things going on and interruptions or whatever, so if you notice a weird cut, that's probably it. Strangely enough, I went for a more industrial type of vibe for this house, and I'm not sure if it exactly fits, but I did my best. I really like how the interior came out, and I think it turns out well. Because this is such an iconic house, I did want to keep the exterior as similar shape-wise as I could, so there's not too much different on the outside. The interior, though, obviously is completely redone. That had to be done. Like, that was just atrocious. I forgot to mention this, but if you're interested in downloading my recreation of the Newbie house from The Sims 1, my gallery ID is Cassie probably. And if you'd like to download this renovation, it's also up there on the gallery, as well as all my other builds on my channel. And if you decide to renovate this yourself, please post a photo and tag me. My Twitter handle is @Grimsimmer and my Instagram is @GrimsimmerYT. Now that I've started uploading to YouTube, I've become hyper aware of my build style. I typically use the same sort of colors, the same sort of themes, same sort of objects, so I think this was definitely step one fun of being self-aware of me needing to branch out and do other things. Rather than splitting up this house into a bunch of different sections for rooms, I decided to just go with an open floor plan. And if you haven't already, check out my build mode tips and tricks for starter homes. I give you tips on floor plans, interior, on landscaping, things like that. So if you're interested, go check it out. And if you have seen it, you'll notice here that I went kitchen, dining room, and living room, which is so important when it comes to open floor plans. It just simply would not make sense to walk into a house and immediately be in the dining room or immediately be in the kitchen, which is why the kitchen has to go on that far left side, in my opinion at least. I mean, do whatever the hell you want. However, I do hate that right when you walk in, you're in the living room. I do think that there needs to be some sort of entryway or foyer or whatever, like you're just instantly about to walk into the coffee table that's in the living room, and I'm not a fan of that. Speaking of coffee tables, this coffee table from Tiny Living makes this pack totally worth it in my opinion. I would pay $10 just to have this coffee table in my game with nothing else. Actually, that might be a lie because I think I bought Tiny Living during one of the Origin sales, so I actually got the pack for like $5, but it was probably the best $5 I've ever spent. I made sure to include the tragic clown painting in this build because not only is it in the original build in The Sims 1, but it's also just such an iconic staple in the game. And if you don't know what the tragic clown is, it's basically this clown that comes and follows you around, and it gives you, I think it gives your sim a sad moodlet. You just have to view the painting in The Sims 4 like 3 times, and then the clown will magically appear. At least that's how I'm remembering it off the top of my head. I could be wrong. I know a lot of other simmers don't really like doing bathrooms, and I definitely have to be in the mood to make a good one, but I think that this might be one of those good ones. From the aesthetics to how there's 2 windows in there, I don't know why, but I really like that. For me, personally, the attention to detail in bathrooms is like the hardest part. My sims are only ever in there for a little bit, so I never really care what they look like, but I really like the way this one turned out. I've said this before and I'll say it again, but the Spa Day pack makes the best bathrooms. I have never played with a spa though. Remember earlier when I said that there's a couple jump cuts within the footage because I had other things going on or whatever? Well, this is one of those things. I play on a Mac like I mentioned earlier, so recording my screen and playing The Sims at the same time makes my computer freak out, like it wants to literally blow up on the spot. It also wants to blow up when I'm editing my footage on iMovie, so it takes a lot for me to do this. Not to be like, woe is me, like editing is so hard, it's so hard being a YouTuber, but that's my reality and I still enjoy doing it, so I'm gonna keep doing it, and hopefully my computer actually does blow up one day, so that way I have a reason to buy a new one. These graphics are almost reason enough. Also, ew, why did I think that putting the curtains like that over the door would ever look good? Not to mention the furniture in here is already atrocious. Not that I don't like the season's furniture, I really do, but for this build it doesn't really match. I end up changing it anyways, but still, why did I even think this would go? Oh my god, that's ugly. I'm really big on matching sets in The Sims 4, mostly because that means we get matching swatches and matching, you know, end tables or dressers, whatever, but I like get hype. I love it. The more that I can make match, the better, which isn't really a good thing, but it's really satisfying. Too much of something is never a good thing, right? I really like this plant from Eco Lifestyle, but I don't even think I've used it yet. I think the leaves are always cutting into the wall wherever I want to place it, so I never end up using it. In this shot, I become hyper aware of how everything in the house is black, white, or gray, so I went in and tried to put like a blue wall, and I ended up keeping it. I think it looks good, but I kept it consistent throughout the whole house, like a accent blue wall. I think it looks good. It adds a nice fun pop of color and makes it look a little bit less dull. As much as I love using earth tones, it can get dull pretty fast. As I was going through and doing the screenshots of the house for the ending clips, I realized that I didn't put like some fun chandelier over the kitchen island, so I went ahead and added that, and then I also added the blue tile in the hallway just to make something interesting on that side of the house too, because it was just a little bit too white. This Thursday I have a video coming out about mental illness in The Sims. Not exactly how they go together or anything, but just people who struggle with mental illness and play The Sims as an escape. So if you're interested in that, like and subscribe if you haven't already. But also I have a survey that I put out just to do some research before I started filming for that, so I could get some more insight from the community. I'll have it linked in the description below if you want to go ahead and fill it out. It shouldn't take more than 30 seconds. Part of me wishes that EA would release a stuff pack that just contained things for The Sims 4, like The Sims 4 graphics of objects from The Sims 1, 2, and 3. Yes, it would be a cash grab and definitely banking on the nostalgia from the community, but I would buy that and I want that. So EA, if you're listening, I will spend money on that. I'd probably spend more than $10 on that. But also that sets expectations. So like, are you supposed to do that also for The Sims 5 and The Sims 6, assuming those are even coming out at some point? Maybe it could be a special edition thing. So maybe when we get to like Sims 5 or Sims 10, I think about that TV on the little TV stand from The Sims 2 a lot. If I can find a picture, I'll insert it here. But what I want from The Sims 3 is the gameplay aspect. That's something that can't come in a stuff pack, but, well, it can, right? But they're not going to give me open world access just through a freaking stuff pack. Like, no. I wish. Again, EA, if you're listening, I would pay more than $10 for this. I think other people would too, but let me know how much you'd pay for that in the comments down below. I really struggled picking a fence for the landscape. I always use the one that I end up with. It's that base game one that's like really small. You'll see. But I really wanted to branch out and do something different, and I honestly, in this process, I discovered a lot of new fencing, but most of them were too bulky for the size of the build and for where the doors were, so it just wouldn't make sense. But I really want to use them in a future build, so look out for that. Maybe I'll also start building with color. That blue wall really inspired me. Not really, but maybe if I say that, you'll be more inclined to stick around. Who knows? No, I'm just kidding. I really do want to build with more color. Sometimes I get bored of my own builds. It's just not stimulating enough sometimes with little to no color. This is sort of just a random thought, but has anybody ever noticed the correlation between emo culture and The Sims? Specifically Sims 2? It's definitely bled over into Sims 3 and 4, but more particularly Sims 2. And maybe that's just because I had an emo phase in middle school, which is like at the height of when I was playing The Sims 2. But even machinimas today, it's always like Sims 2 emo love story or Sims 4 emo love story. Well, I guess, I don't know. I haven't actually done the research for Sims 4 emo love stories, but I imagine they exist. And honestly, I want to watch them. I miss being emo. Not that I'm technically not emo now. I don't know. If you're emo, can you call yourself emo? Food for thought. Anyways, I've definitely noticed a correlation between that and also like teen pregnancies or teen runaway story for The Sims, and I'm really interested as to why that is. I don't know if I can actually pinpoint why, but I really want to do a video discussing that topic in further detail because it's fascinating. I feel like everywhere I see, almost every machinima, a lot of LPs are based on this, and I wonder what our fascination is with this. I'm gonna cut it off there just in case I do make a video about this because I want to talk more about this, but I don't want to give away all my opinions just yet. I also need to think about this more and formulate more thoughts, but anyways, that's another video for another time. I'll probably put out another survey for that too, so look out for that on my Instagram and Twitter. If I'm honest, this little roof cutout that I put over the front door saved the build from what it was. Not that it looks that good in the end, at least I don't think. It's not my best work personally, but I don't think most of that is my fault. Do I think going the industrial vibe for this build was the wrong idea? Yes, but I still did it and I stuck with it. Regardless, I think that cutout really elevated what the outside looked like and again added some dimension, so it's not as cohesive as I would like it to be. And again, I don't think that the industrial vibe was the right pick, but I did what I could and overall I think it came out alright. Also, to clarify, I'm not putting myself down when I say stuff like this because I'm the first one to say that if I make a room or make a house that I really like, I'll be the first to be like, I think I did a really good job with that wording exact. That's my 2 cents. Not that you were probably even worried about that, but I thought that I would mention it just in case. So that is it for today's video, and if you enjoyed it, please leave a like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so that way you can be notified every single time I upload new Sims content. Again, if you want to download this build or any of my other builds, my gallery ID is Cassie probably. And if you decide to renovate this and post a picture, tag me. My Twitter handle is @Grimsimmer and my Instagram is GrimsimmerYT. See you in the next one. Bye!